So I guess we swapped out the .NET in place of libp2p. Since we're already using libp2p for DFS, that we were using .NET for the rest of the networking. But I think we made a decision a few months ago that we were just going to move straight to libp2p. And also on our .NET handlers, we had an issue where if the packet size was too large for the MTU, so if it was a certain number of bytes, then the message would get fragmented and lost. So we could have fixed that, but I think we really wanted to move everything over to libp2p. So now at the moment that the networking for that should be done, and also uses the DFS key store as well. So it's more integrated within the DFS. So previously, the Catalyst had its own networking library and its own kind of key store, and the DFS had its own key store and networking library, and now it's just more integrated within each other. And a new multi-format, multi-address in place. So previously, we had like a peer ID, and that contained a lot of the socket information, such as the public key, the IP address, and the port. And now we're using the multi-format kind of standard, which is multi-address. So that has been replaced. So that's pretty much in replaced all the other kind of peer IDs. And that also goes towards the DFS integration, makes it more integrated within the DFS. Pipeline handlers have been added to the pub sub messages, as well as additional Catalyst protocol library that for libp2p. Integrating the peer repository to the DFS, so any new pairs that are discovered will also be populated into the peer repository, and the peer repository is also used when the node is started up. It will scan all of its previously found pairs and start up to the node how it kind of was previously.
Yes, so that next one, which is persisting Catalyst working directory for restarting the Docker container. When we created the Docker container, so the way I demoed it last week, when you actually close down the Docker container, it would remove all your everything within the .catalyst folder, because it essentially start the entire Docker container from scratch. So during this sprint, what I've done is I've set it up in such a way that it will keep your .catalyst folder saved for you. It will store the .catalyst folder locally, and then you can then that means you can actually so you can then rerun the node using your same peer ID without recreating a new public-private key pair, keeping all the existing settings. But some of the changes that Alex has made will probably make that a lot easier as well. With review of the consensus algorithm, me and Fran have had some discussions around what's there for the consensus algorithm as we look to getting ready to implement it. Fran identified one particular area that was of concern, and we kind of we came to agreement on that around how you actually decide who the set of workers in the network are. We've identified that, and it leads quite nicely into the next sprint, where we'll actually be looking at how we're going to change that element of the consensus algorithm.